Kehlani was falsely accused of cheating on Kyrie Irving with Party Next Door. Falsely, yeah. And Chris Brown thought it would be the...
Falsely? How do you know it's falsely? Why is it when a female does something, it's falsely? But when you look at Chris Brown or any other men up here, black men, sorry, African-American men, by the way, why aren't you saying falsely? Or why aren't you saying allegedly? Why are you saying he did that? Why, Cameron? Huh? Why, Cameron? Why, Cameron? Y'all need to pay attention, man. And we don't even know if it's false. She probably did.
Perfect time to...
I'm not saying she probably did. I don't know. She could. I mean, hey. Man, all these R&B, these Hollywood hoes and niggas be fucking. So, you don't know whether she did or she didn't. But you can't say whether she did or she didn't. Only she knows, Party Next Door, and God knows. But I totally forgot that her and Kyrie were dating. What the fuck? Totally forgot that. I didn't even know that.
Tweet. There is no attempting blank. Stop flexing for Instagram, doing for sympathy, so those comments under your pics don't look.
I mean, he kind of got a point, though. He kind of got a point, though. I'm not even gonna lie, bro. Yeah, bro, because if you're gonna do it, you're just gonna do it. You ain't gonna talk about it, bro. Like, and why would you even post that on social media? It's not no type of... That's not a type of fucking mental health awareness type shit, especially for something that you possibly did or didn't do, which you probably felt good. She probably did it, but yeah, bro.
Look so bad. And to some, this felt like an unforgivable offense. It was horrible, guys. If you were there in real time.
Let me see. I can't even read this. I don't get how Chris Brown thinks that he has any say on Kehlani allegedly cheating when he has a whole child from cheating. Many people attempt suicide each year. You can support Kyrie and respect the series of mental health. So Kehlani tries to harm herself. Chris Brown thinks it's okay to comment. When did the beating woman become a qualification for counseling? Bruh, y'all not even looking into the deeper picture, bruh. It's not about mental health, bruh. It's about, bruh. You're putting shit on the internet that's bringing eyes, and you didn't do it. You didn't. Attempted is not a suicide, bruh. And the reason that you attempted suicide is because of something that you possibly did. So you're trying to get clout off of it. Or you're trying to get some type of sympathy. That's essentially what he's saying. Like, bruh. You're talking about serious mental health. Mental health is serious. But if you did an action that fucked up your life, don't you think you should take accountability for that action? Say, yeah, I did it. I fucked up. I'm going to move forward from this. And then, bruh, literally, all you need to do is turn off your fucking phone. If you're worried about the fucking comments like that, turn off your fucking phone. That's it. And then get outside. Because guess what? That hate is not real. Not real. Everybody they say is the most hated, they get the most love out here, bro. I swear.
It was horrible. So for almost 10 years later, to scroll down my timeline and see them publicly taking a picture, which clearly they cleared the air in private.
And which that's not even a big thing. Y'all, why are y'all going back, bruh? That wasn't even a big thing. I thought it was something different. I thought they used to date and... Nah, it was just so over some Twitter shit. I already know they... But why would you think that... Why would she keep a grudge over a bullshit-ass tweet that really didn't mean anything for 10 years? She ain't like you fucking peons who just sit on your lunch break and just look for shit to talk about. Or who got kids with pissy diapers and who are crying because they ain't got no food or no Pampers because you're not going to the store. And you're going and letting the kids do whatever they want just so you can get fucked in the house. She's not like you fucking... Bruh, she's out here making money. And why would she keep that? Like, it's probably been water under the bridge, bro.
Your mental health. You're a mental health advocate.
And if anything, Chris, bruh, Chris is probably the best person to be an advocate for mental health. All the shit he went through, and he never once said anything about wanting to kill himself on social media. Never once. Now, was he in depression? Yeah, I'm sure he was. Was he harming himself? I have no idea. But probably thought about it. Did he think about offing himself? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. But did he ever put that on social media? No, he didn't. So, Chris Brown's been through the most shit. He's been through shit that most people wouldn't even be able to take in their life, bro. Like, come on now.
He completely on you, and you sitting up here taking a picture, and y'all talking about twin.
Ooh, and he didn't shit on her,
love
bro.
Kayla. I love you, girl, but that was not a good look. But many of these interactions,
you don't love her. You don't love her, bro. You don't love her because guess what? If you did love her, you'd be like some. You know, if she forgave him, because that actually happened to her, then I ain't got no beef with him. It don't make me know. I don't pay my bills. I don't pay me no mind.
And these Chris Brown collabs can bring a lot of negative attention, as you guys can just see, and feelings amongst artists and their fans to varying degrees, with some people saying, I'm wiping my hands clean. I'm done listening to you. There's some people like that. Kiana Lede is the only R&B girl that I've seen, correct me if I'm wrong, who has openly said that she would never collaborate with Chris Brown. And she got slashed for that day and night.
Dream collaborations, honey. Who do we need to see you with? Because it's giving you and Chris Brown. Oh. That's how I'm feeling.
I don't do that. I don't do Chris. No. I'm a woman that just...
I know she's about to say some bullshit, but I was probably not going to be bullshit, but I know it's going to be some bullshit. I don't know who she is. She's cute.
Can't forgive. Sad because so many people were so angry that a woman made her own choices.
But she is. But here's the thing, though. She did make her own choice, so that's cool. That's cool.
Has a history of physical abuse. So it's really sad that people would go out of their way to defend that person rather than just hearing me out when I was asked the question. I judge nobody that does work with him. I have people that listen to my music and come to the shows that are trying to have their escape and to be able to like heal from their traumas of sexual assault.
Like, look, and bruh, you can do nothing but respect her decision and respect what she said. She was asked the question, so yeah. But guess what? I'm sure Chris Brown saw that shit. Why would he even try to collab with her? Makes no sense. She already said, put in the air. She already manifested. I do not want to collaborate with Chris Brown. Why would he go out of his way to do that? First of all, if anything, she really, I can say, maybe she has her own fan base and shit like that too. I don't know how many monthly listeners, but I didn't know her as, all I knew was when she pulled her up, she cute. But I probably would have known her a little bit more if she would have collaborated with Chris Brown. She should have just kept her mouth shut, because I would have gave her more money. I feel like she's standing on her morals and her values, that's cool, but when it comes to making that money, you don't even know if he did it. So, hey, why don't you just go ahead and, why don't you just keep your mouth shut for a little bit and get that paper and get more exposure? Just don't even comment on Chris Brown. You fucking up the bag. But hey, shit. But hey, respect your decision. So does Chris Brown.
Assault. I just don't want to invite that into my space.
Now people have said, oh, you've covered his songs. Again, there is a level of hypocrisy that you could say exists. But
she's covered his songs but doesn't want to collab. She's covered his songs but don't want to collab. Whoa.
Covering a song versus making art with him. Why are you mad at her for standing on something? I don't know. Why do some girls get burned and others don't? I could be wrong, but I have chalked it up to being the audience makeup of each girl, right? What they have stood for, what they have advocated for, and the space that they've lived in. I already talked about it with Kehlani. A lot of people were taken aback because you speak up against abuse. You say you're an activist. You speak up for mental health, but your fans might not let you get off so easy But I want to talk about this audience conversation. Black women are one of the main consumers of R&B and one of the main makers of R&B. And as much as the media will attempt to portray all of us as Black women in the same caricature image, but I would not be shocked nor surprised if there was a simplification of these R&B audiences. Because let's face it, Black women in the US do not make up a large portion of the population. So if that is the main consumer base, are you really gonna take your time to segment, okay, the alt Black girls versus the quirky ones versus US do not make up a large portion of the population. So if that is the main...
Let's see some. Because I don't think she's right about that. So what we about to do? U.S. population by race. She said race and gender. I want it now, not. Man, what the hell is this? Okay. Man, this is 20. I need 2025. I need actual numbers, bro. Man, I'm tired of looking at this shit. I can't find it. Oh well. Who cares? But I don't think they're the lowest demographic though.
this simplification of these R&B audiences. Because let's face it, Black women in the US do not make up a large portion of the population. So if that is the main consumer base, are you really going to take your time?
Okay, I see what she did there. She said that they do not make up majority of the population. They don't make up a lot of the population. Okay, I see what she did.
Alt Black girls versus the quirky ones versus the baddie aesthetic versus the, you know what I mean? Like, I don't really think that some of them take the time to think about that. While these labels can look at a Summer Walker and Chris collab and think, hey, that was a smash. Let's try it with Chloe Bailey. Or, hey, you look at this Mariah the Scientist and Chris Brown collab and that goes up. Let's try this with a Chloe Bailey. Not so fast. And one of the reasons why I think Chloe historically has gotten far more backlash than the average R&B girl for collabing with him is because of the type of audience that she has fostered and cultivated early on. And I briefly talked about this in my Chloe and Halle video, go check that out later, but I spoke on Chloe's solo career and how her day one fans were not feeling the switch up and rebrand, period, from the group to her solo career. So as many as people—
I'm loving the rebrand. Booty so big, Lord. Have mercy.
People connected with Chloe and her sister because of their natural image, their embracing of their natural state, their alternative approach to music, presenting another image and representation of Black girls, deeper song topics, more avant-garde, right? Like, it wasn't the cookie cutter bird brain like behavior that a lot of people expect, or I would say expect from some of these R&B girls, if I'm being honest. So a lot of that audience does not necessarily intersect with a Chris Brown audience from a vibe standpoint, like a vibe check standpoint. Similar to how I think that SZA, in my opinion, would be torn up if she did a collaboration with him. I think people would be upset. Because also, her audience spans outside of Black women. So I think that would be an issue. Do I think her career would be done? Absolutely not. But I think that's why she hasn't touched that
Oh,
yet.
God. Here's the thing. Her career wouldn't even be done because, bruh, she did 2 collabs with Drake, even though in the mix of the fucking beef with him and Kendrick. Her career wouldn't be done. She wouldn't.
Sure, the opportunity has come up. But then it gets confusing, though, because many of these girls' audiences do naturally intersect. People who listen to Chloe Bailey probably listen to her. People who listen to LMA may listen to Ari Lennox. So I get from a label perspective and from their thought process, being confused when one girl can successfully do a collaboration, it leaves no mark, no stain, no articles are being written the next day in the news, while another girl does it and they're like, wait a minute. The news cycle is actually picking this up. But as for segmenting R&B artists and their audiences, it reminds me of something that happened in January 2024. Y'all remember when Ari Lennox was an opening act for Rod Wave, and it went really bad. It went poorly. Water bottles thrown at her, constant disrespect, a crowd uninterested. She said that was one of the most miserable times of her life.
Yeah, every night when I got on stage, I was fighting for my life. I was never comfortable. Just racing to get off stage, racing to get through my set, and then...
Which I can understand that, because Rod Wave and Ari Lennox, they would have, I feel like they'd have two separate types of audiences. I can't see it. That matchup doesn't make sense. I can understand why. I mean, they should have been throwing water bottles at her. Like, that's just crazy. Like, you motherfuckers don't have no respect. I swear to God, throwing water bottles at her? Come on, bro. Because guess what? You only think you can get away with it because you're in a crowd.
And I found a spot where I was comfortable.
Karma's going to be coming for you.
And I started trying to communicate with the audience. And then when I realized they were getting angry at me affirming them, I was like, okay, this is not my crowd.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear what I'm talking about. They don't want to hear the vibrations.
See?
The vibrations was too happy.
See?
Mind you, Rod Wave is some variation of an R&B artist with, I would say, more trap influence with much more of a hip-hop intersecting fan base. So the way that a Mariah the Scientist can open up a hip-hop set for Rod Wave or Tootsie is not the same way that I don't think Ari Lennox will be openly accepted because of the style of music she makes. It doesn't always intersect that way, and let's face it, I think colorism does have something to do with it. Ari Lennox is also making a style of R&B, like a neo-soul style of R&B, where they don't have the palette to appreciate it, so they look at it with an uninterested approach. They're two totally different vibes.
These motherfuckers are bots and low-spirited individuals. Like you said, you want to hear the vibration, nigga. You want to hear the vibration. That's why I'm not wasting my time with you bots.
Just because they both have black audiences that kind of like R&B does not mean that it's going to work. And I think that this similar logic applies to this Chris Brown collab. Just because this girl did it does not mean that there's not nuances within your audience and your style of music that would mean that it would elicit the same response. You can't look at all black audiences and say, yeah, we'll put these two together. They'll love it. No. In the name of Chris Brown, a lot of his fans find his music to be the pinnacle of R&B, while others argue that the last 10 years has been constant spam of generic auto-tuned R&B, hence the whole debates of people maybe over-ranking him in the R&B conversation, which is why some people get very upset when they feel like these non-generic R&B artists like a Leon Thomas recently. I saw a viral tweet calling him out for the Mutt remix, putting Chris Brown on that.
Nigga, if y'all niggas are, bro, I swear to God, y'all are so fucking retarded. If y'all would pay attention, bro, he's collabed with Chris Brown several times before he was on a Mutt remix. He's written for Chris Brown several times. He's already collabed. Like, I don't know why.
He's one of the first men that I really saw get a lot of flack for that. So some people have argued that a Chris Brown cosign has been a crucial part of the R&B Girls starter pack, and that it's merely an industry move and should be seen as such, which I would argue for some of these ladies, it really hasn't done much for them but piss off their fan base. Like, while others like a Danny Lay saw great return. That's her highest charting song ever. So people look at that and are like, boom, maybe we can get on the Hot 100 with that. It just doesn't work for everybody.
And wasn't she just seen as, not just, but a couple years ago, she was seen as like the crazy baby mama to the baby, right? But y'all not gonna say nothing about that, huh?
To conclude this, should the girls stop? So I'm going to operate from a very realistic space. I think these ladies should do as they see fit. But the consequences that come with that, just be prepared for them. I just think the Clueless act on their behalf, though, like some of these ladies gotta stop. Just understand what comes with it.
Bro, they're not acting fucking clueless. They want a Chris Brown feature. They want to be with a Chris Brown. Okay, let them be with a Chris Brown. They're not clueless. If anything, you're clueless. And no disrespect, but if anything, you're being clueless to think that it's only one side of the story. And not even think about the other sides or the overall factor or the other mitigating factors.
Similar to the Tate McRae thing, like I said. Do what you want, sis, and it might not say that you're like a horrible person. I'm not trying to go that far and say these people are bad people. We all have morally gray areas. However, some of us try harder than others to uphold those standards, and I respect the hell out of that. But we all have moments where we're hypocritical. We all have moments where we're not very consistent.
That's facts.
I'm not burning them at the stake, especially when men are getting away with doing these collabs. I didn't even say this yet, but for a long time, he is one of the only male R&B artists that, despite all, still charts well. We're starting to get a few more in. We're starting to usher in some more mainstream R&B boys that are seeing themselves on the chart, but not enough to still garner that star power.
Nigga, because Chris Brown's been in the game for damn near 2 decades, bro. What do you expect? Actually, no, 2 decades. He's been in the game for 2 decades. There's not going to be any type of new artist, new R&B artist, who can come and dominate the charts like Chris Brown can. They literally they only stuck with one thing. They can only sing. They can't dance. This man can sing. He can dance. He can fight. I mean, I shouldn't have said that. He can sing. He can dance. He can perform. He is an excellent performer. A great, excellent performer. Why do you think people compare him to Michael Jackson all the time?
So for recency, if you want to bring a mainstream R&B duets back, if you want to see that, there's fewer options that will make money, in parentheses. Chris still has that charting power, regardless of how canceled he is or how visceral. I don't really think a lot of labels have a lot of like a rap sheet of guys that they can go to and be like, it's going to get attention, it's probably going to sell, and he makes a hit.
Bruh, a lot of the people that I you like listen to, like Lucky Day and shit like that, they make good music. Like John Queens makes great music. Daniel Caesar, great music. Brent Fires, great music. Ty Dolla $ign, great music. Eric Bellinger, Party Next Door. August Alsina, he don't really make music no more. Lucky Day, bro, they all make great music. They just don't dance. They're not performers. They're not performers. And get up there and do their thing But Chris Brown, he performs. They don't dance, they don't do nothing. They can just sing. Like, come
rap
on,
sheet of guys that they can go to and be like, it's gonna get attention.
But why'd you think? Why'd you bring?
Sell.
Oh, well, she's someone
And
new.
he makes a hit. I remember Kelly Williams had come out, and I know she'd be talking a lot, but she said something that stood out to me. She said, let him come out with his own record.
Bruh, she was always my favorite cheetah girl. I swear to God.
So genius, so captivating that it makes us all forget he beats women. He can't.
Remember how I said was, right?
So he won't. So what does he do? He slowly creeps into the mainstream by getting small nods or features from black women's merit. To that point, we gotta be honest, Chris has charted mainstream years after year without an R&B girl feature or not. So we're not gonna be delusional now. Some people have, like Keely has stated, feel like he's just using that as a rehabilitation center and he's using it to kind of boost his image.
Bruh,
I don't know. What are your
Chris Brown doesn't need to boost his image. Majority of his fans are black women. He don't need to boost his image, bro. He don't need to do that. He don't need to garner he don't need to go out of his way to garner more black women. Especially when y'all showed him that y'all fucking hate him. And y'all have this hatred, this burning hatred for him. Why would he do that? Yeah, nah. He's just doing it because for the love of the game, and he loves these artists that he's picking out and he's choosing to collab with.
Your thoughts on that? Do you think that's a fair take? Because it is interesting how black women seem to be some of the only people that will touch him with a 10-foot pole when it comes to collaborations. When is the last time a pop girl?
And also look at the people who have already dissed him. Not dissed him, but say they all keep my distance. You don't really. The people who've been with Chris Brown, they still popping. They out there. But Kehlani, I mean, she's doing all right. I haven't really heard too much about her. Who else? Keely, don't know what the fuck she's doing. Pretty sure she was having boyfriend issues or something like that. I don't know. I haven't heard about her. Who else? Zendaya. I mean, she was Spider-Man, so, but she stopped at the R&B shit. She did it the R&B shit. She's just an actor now, or actress. So, and that other girl who's there, I don't know who she is. So,
somebody outside of the R&B genre has collaborated with Chris Brown. Not rapper, who? But I think that this conversation in all will never be fully agreed upon or settled. I fear that you just can't control what artists do and who they support. And we will all sleep better at night if we understand that. But you also have a choice as a consumer, and I don't want you to be shamed. Nobody should be shamed, I think, in my opinion, for saying that they don't want to support somebody who has had a repeated history of what he has. I want this to be an open forum. This video is not a whole
Cameron says that any woman who collaborates with him is canceled.
I'm not saying that, but I just wanted to frame it and put the facts out there and put some theories out there. So what are your thoughts? Do you feel like this whole Chris Brown collab, the chokehold, the spell that he has on R&B girls, is it a spell? Are these girls just simply doing it because they want to? How about you guys comment a microphone emoji in the comments if you made it to the very end? Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys in my next video.
shout out to Tony Brienne. My baby would never do anything like that. Shout out to Cameron Suzanne. It was a great video. Only thing I can say is that if you're gonna make something about somebody to make your argument stronger, put a counter argument. I didn't see anywhere where you put one of the females that, I mean, I just talked about, but one of the females who said that he attacked her. You ain't show those texts that he put up that exposed her, saying that, oh nah, she was looking for him in a hotel room and shit like that, and she was salty that he wasn't trying to be with her. And also, what about that documentary that they just put out, and that he's doing a whole lawsuit for defamation? You ain't say anything about that. So, but hey, shout out to you, man.